Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David, and for me, I started my English learning journey 5 years ago when I was 26. During my journey, I dealt with a lot of adversity and many other difficulties to get to where I am now. That's why I started this YouTube channel to primarily help others learn more effectively and share some of the experiences that I encountered along the way. And I also intend to make a lot of videos like this in the future for you guys, so if you're new here, consider subscribing to my channel. So in the previous video, I actually shared a little bit in Vietnamese about what it looked like when I first started learning English. So if you're new and don't know where to start, go and watch that video. Now, before jumping into today's topic, I would like to ask you guys one question. And that question is, have you ever had any problems expressing yourself in English when speaking with somebody? And if the answer from you is yes, this video is for you. I know that it is very common for you to think that you have to learn more and you have to learn a lot in order to be fluent or expressive enough during English conversations. You probably think that you need to learn a lot of grammar and vocabulary to express yourself well. Now, granted, that is pretty true because you can only use what you know, and the more that you learn, the more you can speak, right? However, a lot of people find themselves stuck in the middle of a conversation trying to use the vocab that they just learned a couple days ago. You know what their reason is? The reason is their lack of practice and confidence. So basically, your journey of fluency is your journey of mastering these three elements: knowledge, quality of practice, and confidence. And in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the ideas related to these three elements to help you improve your fluency. Now for the first element, knowledge, as I mentioned before, you can only use what you have already learned. And of course, you can't force yourself to be able to use words that you have not learned before, right? A lot of people have a goal of learning a list of 10 words, 20 words, 30 words a day. However, when it comes to learning new vocabulary, not only do you have to learn its meaning, you also have to learn its pronunciation as well. Now, if you know the word's meaning, but you can't say it right, or you're still making a lot of pronunciation mistakes, it's just a matter of practice, which we'll talk about in the next element section. But if you can remember the meaning of the words that you've been learning for a long time, the reason probably is because you're not even interested in those words or their meaning in the first place. You had a very hard time learning those words, but you just kept forgetting what they mean. So in order to understand this, I would like you to ask yourself a question if you know all the terms, all the vocab words in Vietnamese. And if your answer is no, you don't know all the terms, all the vocab words in Vietnamese, then I can't either, right? When speaking in Vietnamese, we don't use any of the vocabulary that doesn't pertain to us or to our interests, right? Then why learn the vocabulary in English that you will never use in your daily life? If you're more passionate about how to teach kids some essential skills than topics like medical or sports, then just go ahead and learn the vocab that you need in order to help yourself be more expressive in that topic. Now, talking about grammar, it is a little bit trickier because grammatical points can be difficult to understand and master. But the good news is you don't have to learn all of them. You just have to learn the basics. And basic grammar can still help you get your points across if you know how to use it exactly. Of course, when you first start learning English, you gotta start learning some of the basic ones. For example, tenses, prepositions of time and places, so on and so forth. Now, after you've already mastered all the basics, you would like to learn more. You should only learn all the things that are important to you. All the things that you are going to be using in your daily life, and don't learn everything, including anything that other people are saying in their video all over social media. Because I know that a lot of people in their videos are trying to tell you that you should learn more advanced vocabulary, but in fact, native speakers don't even know what they are. So why bother learning them and spending a lot of time to learn them in the first place? But how do you think what is important to you? So whenever you are deciding to learn some of the new stuff, just ask yourself this question. So do you like it? Is it going to be something that you are going to use in your daily life? And if the answer is yes, just go ahead and master it before learning the next thing. So the bottom line here is that you don't have to learn everything, but only the things that are important to you. Now that you already know what you should learn, you need to figure out how to use it. And the only way to use it is to practice it first, which leads us to the next element, quality of practice. But before diving deeper into it, I would like you to know that not everything that you know can be used at the moment you speak. Why? Simple, because you don't have the habit of using what you've learned yet. In Vietnamese, if you take some time to pay attention to the way you speak, you'll easily notice that you use some specific patterns more often than the other ones. And the more you use them, the more these patterns become your habit of speaking. Same idea for English. So building the habit of using what you learned is what you practice for. And when you practice and have enough practice for some particular things you learned, the muscle memory will be developed to give you the ability to use it when communicating. Now, not all the practice is good if you don't pay attention to your mistakes. When teaching my students, I always tell them to be careful not making the same mistakes over and over again, because when the habit of making those mistakes is formed, it takes them 10 times the effort to really break them and correct themselves. This is also the reason why that I named this section Quality of Practice, because I personally believe that quality is much more important than quantity when it comes to practice. You might have about 2 hours a day to practice, but when doing it, you're not really careful pronouncing some certain words. So after 10 more days, you're still making the same mistakes as opposed to someone who has been very careful trying to say them right on day 1. Of course, it might be hard at first because the word is new to him, but he pays attention to his own mistakes and trying to correct each mistake when he practices, and that helps him master the word faster. Up to now, you might ask me how to learn and how to practice with grammatical points. Remember what I told you earlier, that you should only learn what is important to you. While learning grammar takes time, practicing it to the point that you can use it without thinking about it a lot is the goal. But you need to know this, don't try to learn and practice a lot of grammar right off the bat. Only learn and practice one at a time, and until you master it, you can move on to the next point. For example, when you learn tenses, you should probably start with simple present, and when it comes to he, she, and it as its pronoun of your sentence, you have to add an s at the end of the verb. Now it sounds easy, but I guarantee you that it might take you months to form this habit of using simple present correctly all the time. This isn't something that's gonna happen overnight anyway, but hey, don't worry, just keep practicing and try to get it right each and every single time you practice, because practice is the only time that you should pay attention to your mistakes. And if the mistakes are fixed during practice, chances are that you won't repeat the same mistakes when communicating in real conversation with somebody. And for all the things that you're trying to learn, as long as you don't have to rack your brain to think about it anymore, but it pops up immediately, then you can also move to the next point to learn and practice. The point here is that if you have some time to practice throughout your day, just don't go for the quantity or the number of times that you say the words or use the grammatical point that you're trying to learn, but instead go for the quality of your practice. So being careful of your own mistakes and trying to correct yourself immediately is much more important. While the first 2 elements are essential, the third element is going to be the one that defines how you put what you learned and practiced into good use. It's also the result of the first 2 as well. When you have the knowledge and you practice it a lot, you are becoming a little bit more confident in using it. But there are still a few things that may concern you and drag down your confidence, especially when you are talking with a native speaker. Maybe you're thinking that you have to speak like a native speaker in order to be confident, or you have to form exactly the same sentence that they do in order to be a confident communicator in English. But I'll tell you what, it is nearly impossible to sound like them and to speak like them. When you were not born into the language but trying to learn it as an adult, You can sound like somebody who was born in an English-speaking country, not to mention that a lot of you guys might have learned English for only a few months, so speaking like a native speaker is really impossible. Then if you can sound like a native speaker, what are you going to focus on in order to become more confident in English? And the answer is that you should focus on the purpose of communication, and this will significantly boost your self-confidence. English or any other languages is just a tool for us to get our meanings across, and it shouldn't be like an art for us to master. Every single second passes on this earth, 3 out of 4 English conversations happen amongst non-native speakers like you and me. Therefore, if there's any standard of how to speak English confidently, and that standard should be around the area of making yourself more understandable. And you should be confident if you're able to make yourself easy to understand. Also, stop thinking that you have to speak a lot in order for yourself to look professional and knowledgeable. Because even when you're knowledgeable and you're speaking a lot and things you're saying are confusing, people still don't want to listen to you, but go find somebody else whose English level may be lower than yours, but they get to the point, and the people that are talking to them get what they want. So be concise and understandable when talking, and you'll become more confident. And if you build your self-confidence this way, you also have to be careful not comparing yourself with anyone. Comparisons bring you nothing but unsatisfaction. You might feel confident when talking with somebody whose English level is lower than yours, but when facing with somebody else that is better than you, or let's say you're talking with a native speaker, now you feel judged. You become self-conscious and less confident when talking. Why? Because you feel judged. And if you don't want to feel judged, don't judge anyone or compare yourself to anyone. And when you stop comparing yourself to anyone, you are you and you have your own way to speak. And keep in mind that English is just a tool for us to get our points across. It's not an art for us to master. Now that you already know all 3 elements that help you pursue your journey to fluency, let's recap what we talked about in this video. First, practice what you already know and just don't bother learning new things yet. If you have a lot of vocabulary and you don't know how to pronounce them, learn their pronunciation and put them into practice. Second, when you have enough practice and you become more confident in using what you learned, continue learning the new things, but only the things that are important to you, and don't waste your time learning anything that doesn't pertain to you or to your interests. Last, try to boost your confidence in every single conversation that you have. Try to focus on the meaning you're saying and sound like yourself. Get to the point and stop confusing people. And that's everything that I wanted to share in this video. I hope that you found it helpful, and to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. Bye for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.